Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GA with me, Seamus Brady. In this video, I'm going to be talking and discussing really reacting to the announcement that James Horan has stepped away from the Mayo management position for the second time. Of course, his first reign, he took over in 2012, stepped away after that, no, 2011, sorry, and stepped away after that All-Ireland semi-final defeat to Kerry in 2014, an air of familiarity as he steps away for the second time after defeat to Kerry, this time in the All-Ireland quarterfinals. So basically just go through his second reign with this Mayo team, talk about where Mayo go from here, in my opinion, talk about what the future could hold for the county and Horan himself and who I think could come in to take his place. So, of course, he came in off the back of Mayo losing to Kildare in 2018. Of course, there was that whole Newbridge or nowhere saga where Cian O'Neill really tapped into the passion in Kildare and made it one hell of a game. And Kildare came with everything and they knocked out Mayo. And it did seem to potentially be the end of an era for Mayo. That team, the Keith Higgins, the David Clarks, the Andy Morans, that had been to so many All-Ireland finals were now potentially starting to fall away. And Horan came in 2019 in his first year of his second term as Mayo boss. And a lot of Mayo fans really were sad to see him go initially. And there are some fans that believe that he should have stuck around. I really like Stephen Rochford as a coach. Horan adds something different. Some people prefer him, some people don't. I'm going to go through what I think his strengths and weaknesses are, and I'm just going to be brutally honest about what I think he did well and what I think he didn't do too well. So 2019, James Horan comes in and he gets off to the perfect start. Mayo win the Division 1 Alliance Football League title in his first year in charge, beating Kerry, of course, in that league final. Now, that was a massive day for Mayo. That was a fantastic victory. Beating Kerry, of course, in a national final in Croke Park is massive for the psychology of the Mayo fans, the Mayo players, because of the history of Kerry beating them in All-Ireland finals. They beat them in 1997. They beat them out the gate in 2004 and 2006. And of course, they'd beaten them in the semi-final in 2014 in a real titanic struggle. So Mayo needed that. Mayo needed to beat Kerry in a big game. And they did. They won that game in that league final. Of course, Rob Hennelly's save from David Clifford in that game was excellent. And Mayo were deserving league champions. But they didn't really back that up. They went into the Connacht Championship and they lost to Roscommon. Of course, Kevin McLaughlin had a late chance to equalise that free. Here's the moments where the managers don't really have that much power. Kevin McLaughlin missed that free. That could have drawn the sides level. That could have been Mayo winning the Connacht title that year. Who knows? Either way, McLaughlin puts the free wide. Roscommon win that game and go on to win the entire Connacht Championship in the end. They bounce back though. They come through the qualifiers and they make it to the Super 8s. Of course, this is the last year that the Super 8s was in effect. Mayo take a bad beating against Kerry, but then they had a massive performance against Donegal, which saw them through into the semi-final that year where they came up against the Dubs. And this was the Dubs chasing 5 in a row. In my opinion, the best Gaelic football team that has ever played the game. The only Gaelic football team that has ever done 5 All-Ireland titles in a row. And not only did they do 5, they ended up doing 6. And in this semi-final, Dublin put on the best quarter of Gaelic football that I've seen. They went from being right neck and neck with Mayo to absolutely blowing them away in that third quarter. Mayo put in a great first half performance, but they just ran out of steam in the second half, and Dublin went on to win the All-Ireland and complete the historic 5 in a row and then 6. So Mayo, that was Horan's first year in charge. Look, a lot of people wouldn't necessarily have been expecting them to do All-Irelands that year. So Horan kind of not real any pressure on him there. 2020, of course, did not as good in the league. They started off pretty poorly. Then the pandemic hit and just shut the whole world down. When it reopened, Mayo got relegated in the final 2 games of the league, but they played magnificent football. And one thing that was clear about James Horan was the amount of new players that were just flooding into the team. I mean, the likes of Mark Moran played in that league game. Rory Brickenden was coming in, Michael Plunkett, like the Rory Byrne in goal. They were everywhere. Tommy Conroy, Ryan O'Donoghue, all these new lads flooding into the Mayo team. and some of them have been a massive success. The last two that I mentioned there, Conroy and O'Donoghue, are massive to Mayo now. Either way, though, they were relegated to Division 2 after defeat to Tyrone. They then, in the championship, though, it was very clear that they still had the ability. They went into the championship and won Connacht the hard way. They beat Galway and Roscommon en route to winning the championship. Then they beat Tipperary in the semi-final, and a bit of a mad game, to be honest. Cillian O'Connor looked as good as he's ever looked in that game against Tipperary. And then they went into the All-Ireland final against the aforementioned Dublin. 5 in a row All-Ireland champions, going for 6. Dublin, won this game. But they won this game, I don't think, out of, being better on the day. They were just a bit cuter. They struck at the right times. Conor O'Callaghan got 2 goals at very, very crucial times. And yeah, that's the difference. I mean, Dean Rock got the goal after 10 seconds. Conor O'Callaghan, only got the second goal, but it came at a crucial time when Mayo were really getting right back into the game. And yeah, then a lot of players walked away for Horan. Of course, the likes of Tom Parsons, David Clark, they all stepped away. Seamie O'Shea stepped away. Key players for Mayo over the last 10 years. But the core of the likes of Lee Keegan, Aidan O'Shea, they didn't, they decided to stick around even longer. But one thing that was clear about Mayo was that they were gearing up for another shot at the All-Ireland. The likes of Paddy Durkin, Oisin Mullen, Tommy Conroy, these lads were coming through. They clear ability, clear talent, clear potential, and 2021 could potentially be the year. And it started off really promisingly. As we've seen over the years, a run in Division 2 can be good for the confidence, and Mayo got promoted up to Division 1 playing some excellent football. They won the Connacht title again. Then they beat Dublin in the semi-final. The highlight really result of James Horan's second reign in Mayo. An amazing performance by Mayo, Tommy Conroy and Ryan O'Donoghue, especially to the fore. They beat Dublin, by 17 points to 14 after extra time, dethroning Dublin and beating the Dubs for the first time since Donegal did it in 2014. And that led them into the All-Ireland final, where there was so much hype around them now. There were a lot of expectations that they would have an All-Ireland shot in 2021, but beating Dublin, beating the side that had owned the All-Ireland for the last 6 years, really, really ramped up the pressure and expectancy on the Mayo players. And they went into this final against a Tyrone side, which had beat Kerry in the other side of the draw and had beat Monaghan and beat Donegal. And, they had a very hard route to the final, and somehow Tyrone were really being slept on. And I remember Joe Brolly saying, the amount of press coverage that Mayo are getting as if they've already won the All-Ireland will annoy Tyrone. And Tyrone flipped the script. 2 goals for Tyrone at key times. Cathal McShane, massive performance from him, and he fisted in the second goal after a long loop ball by Conor Myler. McShane ends up there 1-on-1 with Oisin Mullen in the penalty box, boxes into the back of the net at a key stage, and Mayo lose another All-Ireland final. I think it was 11 to 12 points or something in favour of Tyrone. Tyrone All-Ireland champions 2021, and just the disappointment in Mayo. It was pure heartbreak in 2016 and 2017 against the Dubs, because in 2017, as a Dublin fan, Mayo were the better team that day. In 2017, I really think they should have won that All-Ireland final, but this one in 2021, they were just poor, and Tyrone were the better team, and Mayo let the day pass them by. They didn't turn up to the same level that they had against Dublin. And that was a real sucker punch for the county. In 2022, it was, can Mayo bounce back again? And it looked like they were going to. Made it to a league final where they were going to face up against Kerry, and they just got torn limb from limb. David Clifford ran amok on Pádraig O'Hara and the whole Mayo defence, to be honest, and they just didn't turn up. Kerry eased to victory, and were Division 1 champions, really turning around that 2019 league win that Mayo had, which feels like an age ago now. And then Mayo do go on then into the championship. They lose to Galway in the Connacht semi-final, but then they bounce back through the qualifiers. They beat Monaghan and Kildare, not convincingly, but they still beat them, 2 Division 1 sides, and go into the quarterfinals, where they once again come up against Kerry. And Kerry just cruised to victory. Not really too much, never really looked like Kerry were going to lose. Mayo hung in there for periods, but David Clifford's goal crucial. And Kerry go into the All-Ireland semi-finals, and Mayo are dumped out of the Championship 2022. And then a day later, James Horan steps down. And here I am talking about it today. So, look, what do I think he's done well? I think one thing he's done well is he revamped the interest in Mayo, and he revamped the spirit, and he revamped the fight. He's brought in a lot of excellent players. Tommy Conroy, Ryan O'Donoghue, Owen McLaughlin. He's really brought the best out of Paddy Durkin and Oisin Mullen. And he's really brought the best out of Cillian O'Connor, I think. 2020, that was the best version of him that I've seen personally. He's been a fantastic footballer ever since he got into the team. But against Tip, he looked incredible. Look, what did he do badly? This is going to be controversial. What do I think James Horan did badly personally? Very naive at times. I mean, how many times in James Horan's reign has he left a big target man on the edge of the square with only one defender on him in the modern day? 2012, in his first reign, Michael Murphy on the edge of the square with Kevin Kane. Michael Murphy gets that goal straight away in the All-Ireland final. 2013, Bernard Brogan with Ger Cafferty on him, just in the square. 2 goals for Bernard Brogan in that 2013 final, off being just one-on-one, no packed defence. That's the way the game has gone. You cannot allow that to happen. And then fast forward to last year's All-Ireland final, 2021, Cathal McShane, one-on-one in the square with Oisin Mullen for a high ball coming in. It's naivety that has really been Mayo's Achilles heel, especially under James Horan since he's come in. And like, I just don't know. A bit more of a ruthless streak would have done them pretty well there, and a bit more of a no, shut this shit down now. 2 men in on the big full forward. I think it really would have helped them, especially in those key moments. He's been excellent. James Horan has been a fantastic manager for Mayo twice. He 2010, Mayo were in the dumps. They'd been dumped out of the qualifiers by Longford. They'd been dumped out of the Connacht Championship by Sligo. And Horan came in 2011, got them back on their feet, got them to that All-Ireland semi-final against Kerry, and really, really made them a competitor again. And he revamped them, got them a league title, got them back-to-back Connacht titles, and got them to 2 successive All-Ireland finals in his reign. But they really should have won 2021's final. They should have turned up. That was their one to win. And they just haven't bounced back this year. And I understand his decision to step away. So I think he's been a very good manager for Mayo, but I think there was more that they could have won there, especially with the likes of Lee Keegan, Paddy Durkin, Cillian O'Connor. I think there was more there for Mayo, and it will be interesting to see where they go, which brings me on to what is next. Now, there's a lot of names being thrown into the mix. We've heard Jim McGuinness, we've heard Stephen Rochford, Maurice Sheridan, Ray Dempsey, Mike Solan. I think all of them are interesting. I really do. I think Jim McGuinness in particular is very interesting. I mean, you talk about the mentality change that he brought to Donegal. I think the biggest problem with Mayo is their mentality. I think they can beat anyone right now as long as it's not a final. Like they found a way to lose in every All-Ireland final that they've been in. And Jim McGuinness is a winner. He came into Donegal, completely brainwashed them from being really the laughing stock of Ulster, which they were, to being the kings of Ulster, and they didn't take shit from anyone. And McGuinness was absolutely the leader of turning that whole ship around in Donegal. And could he do it in Mayo? I believe he definitely could. If you were to give him the trust, allow him to bring in what he wanted to bring in, the coaches and so on that he wanted to bring in. He's got a great eye for management. I mean, Jim McGuinness, the first coaches he brought in, Maxie Curran, is now the Donegal ladies manager. And then Rory Gallagher, I mean, I don't need to tell you what he's doing, like Derry, Ulster champions into an All-Ireland semi-final. He got Fermanagh to an Ulster final as well. Rory Gallagher is a top coach, and Jim McGuinness spotted the talent that he had and brought him into the backroom team. So McGuinness, give him the trust, give him the ability to run this Mayo team the way that he wants it. The question is, will he take the job? I mean, he hasn't managed since he walked away from Donegal in 2014. A lot has changed in the game since then. I mean, the fly keeper that Armagh brought in with Ethan Rafferty, a lot has changed. So with McGuinness, would he be able to work the same magic that he did before? Who knows? Another name that really interests me there, Stephen Rochford, of course. He was the manager from 2015 to 2017. He put together the best Mayo team I've seen. 2017 was the best Mayo team I've seen, in my opinion. Rochford was an interesting one, because that Mayo team that he had, they seemed to drop their level to whoever they were playing against. 2017, they almost got beaten by a pretty poor Cork team. Derry, who were not good at this point, took them to extra time. And then they went on to give Dublin one hell of a game in that final and should have won it. And they beat Kerry in the semi-final. So they were a weird one, but they always seem to come good in the end. I'm not sure many Mayo fans would want another Rochford run, because every year there were rumours that he was going to be replaced, and then they'd pull out a big semi-final performance and then lose in the final. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't want Rochford for me as number 2, but I'm going to insert a wild card option here. Maurice Sheridan, Ray Dempsey, and Mike Solon, I think, are all good options, but I would take a punt on this option here, and it's going to come a bit out of the blue. Mickey Harte, the current Louth manager. Now, a lot of people will say, what are you talking about, Shay? Mickey Harte is the Louth manager. He's invested in that Louth project. Would he not be a little bit more interested in the Mayo one? I don't know. It's a controversial thing to say, but Mayo are All-Ireland contenders. They have the players to win that All-Ireland, and Mickey Harte is a damn winner. He won 3 All-Ireland titles with Tyrone, a team that had never won an All-Ireland before Mickey Harte came in. He set the culture. He set the winning mentality that carried into now, where Tyrone had the confidence in the 2021 final that Mayo did not have, that Tyrone were going to win that All-Ireland title. Mickey Harte set that culture. If he comes into Mayo, he can really install a winning attitude. I really think he can, because of his experience. And what he's shown with Louth is that the man is an unbelievable manager. What he's been able to do with Louth, turning them around from a Division 4 team that was stuck to a thriving Division 2 team that was in the All-Ireland Championship this year, is massive. And with Mayo, with the ability and the players that he has there, I think he could really, really, really do something there. And the ruthless streak that I'm talking, that I think James Horan lacked with leaving one man on an inside forward, Mickey Harte won't have that. Mickey Harte will make damn sure that Mayo don't get caught like they did with Michael Murphy in 2012, with Cathal McShane in 2021. He'll make damn sure that don't happen again. I think he'd be a very interesting one. Of course, the question is, does he leave Louth? Look at Jack O'Connor last year. Jack O'Connor last year was Kildare manager. He seemed to be pretty invested in that project. Peter Keane walks away from Kerry, and all of a sudden Jack O'Connor perks up and leaves Kildare. I do understand that, look, there is obviously a bias there that Jack O'Connor is a Kerry man and he would always have wanted that job. But Mickey Harte is a competitor and he will want to win another All-Ireland. And with Louth, he's not going to win an All-Ireland. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be harsh. Louth aren't going to win an All-Ireland. They don't have the population that Mayo do in terms of like the engagement and the size and the history that Mayo do. They play in Division 2 now. We'll see if they can survive in Division 2. But Mayo are All-Ireland contenders next year. And Mickey Harte would love, imagine the legend that Mickey Harte would be if he could win an All-Ireland with Mayo and bring an end to the famine. It would be an interesting one on the table for sure. Look, it's a wild card for a reason that I don't know if it would happen, but my God, I think it could be a match made in heaven. Realistic pick, Jim McGuinness would be my pick to come in as Mayo manager, but Mickey Harte, wild card option, and then Stephen Rochford would be a good safe option as well. That's my roundup of the James Horan era. I think it's been a good one, but I think they could have achieved more. What did you make of it? Get involved in the comments below. And until the next one, guys, take care.